Welcome back to Chris from the Hagon factory. So we're back on 2025. We've got plenty of projects, as you know, and we're going to get through a few. We've got all the Triumph projects, we've got a Montesa project, we've got all sorts of stuff going on. Today we're just going to have a quick look at a bit of an update on what's happening with the 56 Triumph dirt tracker and where I'm up to. I haven't done a lot on it in the last month or so. As you can imagine, we've been away on holidays, went up to Byron for a while and had a bit of a look around, but we're back into it now. So let's have a look.
Empty bottles and wasted time. I got nothing to show for all my wasted time, except the trouble, worried mind.
So when we're going to restore something, the first thing we do is look at the parts list and we order parts. It's probably the last thing we should do. We should go through all our parts, see what we can fix, see what doesn't need repair, just needs a good clean, and then go from there. So what I've done is I've pulled apart two wheels, two hubs, to build one hub, one rear one for the Triumph. I've got enough parts, come up fantastic. Now, these wheels were sitting outside for the last probably 50 years and they are rotten. This is a pretty good example here. It's just absolutely rusty, and this is what I started off with. I've gone through these and saved enough bits, and we've come up with something really good. Okay, so as you know, I've pulled apart two hubs, two wheels, to get parts to build one wheel. The rims were absolutely rotten. We'll get a couple of photos of those later on. This thing here has been out in the weather for over 50 years, and the other one that I've been working on looked exactly the same. Absolutely worn out, but this is the thing with restoration, that you need to have a good look before you start spending money. So, because a lot of these things we can clean up. So, this one here, the sprocket's worn out, and the drum itself, it's got some pretty bad score marks in it, but I'll show you what we did with the other one. This is an identical hub that was laying next to the other one outside for over 50 years, and this is what you can do with a bit of time and effort. And this hasn't cost me anything to do at this stage, but we've given the backing plate a bit of a clean up. Still needs a bit of a panel beat. It's got a couple of marks on the edges. We'll get that today where they're a bit rolled in. We'll sort those out. We've managed to save the shaft. We've cleaned all that up, the arm, the bush in there, and it's come up quite well, as you can see. Like, it's very clean. This hasn't got anywhere. I've measured this up. This is standard. But what I've done is I've machined the teeth off the sprocket, and I've measured it out, and we bored holes all the way around it. So I've got to put a step on this, but what we're going to do is make this so we can bolt alloy sprockets onto this. There's the back side, but it's come up pretty good. Very happy with the outcome. Not much work at all to bring it up like that. Now we've had the hub, I've had that sort of soaking a bit, but we're going to just clean the inside out. We'll get a bit of brake cleaner in there, wipe it out, a bit of degreaser, and then we'll send that off the powder coat. I will get this coated at some stage, but we'll make sure we get the sprocket to fit. Now this is the end result. I'm pretty happy with that. That hasn't cost me anything to do this. It was like a day's work, or probably half a day's work probably. But we've saved all this, and we've done really well. No need to rush out and spend a fortune. And so what we'll do now is we will order a sprocket for it, alloy sprocket, and we'll machine that up and we'll go from there. This has been a really good project without leaving the house, just using everything we've got laying around. So you need to go through your parts and really look at it before you spend, and put your money in the right places, which we've all done the wrong thing. I've purchased stuff that it's still laying around that we'll never use. We've all made mistakes there. The best thing we can do is put our money in the right place so we can keep these things moving forward. This is going to be the front wheel of the Triumph. This is a 1974 XL350 front wheel. I know it's a 74 because I pulled it out of a 74 XL350 that I've got. We've got a few of these laying around, all in bits, so I'd like to build one good one day, but I don't know whether I'll ever get around to it. But managed to get this wheel, and I've got some forks as well. We've got the KT Kawasaki triple clamps that we're going to use with the fork legs. They're just a little bit wider, so we need to build up the bracket here that locks the backing plate on the fork leg. So that's going to be the next job. So we'll get the forks apart, measure everything up. I'll machine up a piece to go in there. We'll get all that welded in. Will hopefully do that for us. I've got seals and new caps to go on top of the forks. So hopefully they'll come up fantastic. And then the bearings on their way too for the headset. So we'll get the front end together, and we'll get it into a roller, make sure it all looks good, and then we'll pull it apart for paint. Okay, so we've done a few other jobs on this over the break. We've made a manifold here. So this is your standard 650 Triumph manifold. It's normally got a flange on it. So I've machined the flange off, and I've put a tube on there to a new Mark II amyl carb, and then to a K&N filter, just to get around the corner there. I didn't want to modify the frame, and I didn't like some of those other manifolds that you can buy where it's got a long intake on one side and a short on the other on the angle. I'm not sure whether that would muck around with the mixture or not, whether one would run rich and one would run lean, but we're not going to worry about that anyway. So we've done this to start off with. Now I'm going to make a full width oil tank, and I'll have a cutout around the K&N filter into the oil tank as well. So that'll go all in here. And the next thing I need to do is make a bracket just to run from the top of the Mark II up to here, where the toolbox mount used to be. And I need to make a bracket to go across to here. So I'm actually going to weld a bracket onto the frame, which is, I don't know, it's never been something I've been fond of, but this is mine, and I'm going to keep this thing forever, so I'm just going to make these few modifications to suit me. So I'll definitely weld a piece on the frame here, and then we'll get the exhaust bolted on. And then once we've done that, I don't think there'd be, oh, maybe the seat mounts actually, sorry. Got to get the seat mounts on as well at the rear, weld them on, and then we can send it out for paint. Then I'll finish off all the alloy brackets. We're going really well all of a sudden. I just feel that it is coming along, so, which is fantastic. I'd like to get this done this year. I know some of these things take me a while, but this should be a bit more straightforward than trying to fit a 350 Velo and Velo gearbox in a Hagon. It was just a headache. And we're nearly at the end of that, as you know. We've just got the ignition on it, and I've got to put the chain on it, and we'll take that for a run, but it's just a little bit hot. And I think if we take that out, with the clutch spinning around and all that sort of stuff, we might start a fire out at the mate's property, so we won't want to do that. Righto, same as every other week. If you like what you see, like, subscribe, tell your friends, tell everybody. Let's bring Hagon's back.